All right, welcome to another edition of the Middle Aged Metalhead. Today we've got some very special guests with us from Bangalore's technical death metal band, vocalist Pearl, ex bass player for Goatsmoke, and a visual artist, Niharika, Debbie from Pune and Mumbai's punk rockers, Exit Wounds, and Phulee from Guwahati's Retromist. Hi, all.
Hello.
Hey,
So, how's everybody doing?
Very
all
well.
right.
Going on?
Pretty good actually.
Cool. So let's dive into this right away, right? So today's whole scene is going to be about talking about the scene where we are today in India, what the scene is like for all of you, particularly what it should be like, what is the ideal state that you think our scene should be at, and where do you think we will be in the future? Okay, and of course, your own musical journeys and where you are right now, how you got started, and where you see yourselves in the future as well. And maybe a little bit of gyan for youngsters who want to get into this scene. Okay, so starting off with Debbie. So, how did you get into this? What is your origin story in superhero speak? So, what was that one trigger or inspiration that made you pick up the drums and get into punk rock?
I think I wanted to play drums like ever since I was a teenager, and I expressed this at home, when I was living with my family. I grew up in Assam in a small town called Silchar, and back then I wasn't allowed. So there were like a lot of restrictions and like taboo around girls doing anything unconventional. So at that point, it was like sort of unimaginable to do something like that. And I was like a very angry kid. So things like these made me really sad and angry, and I couldn't want to be able to do the things I like. And drumming was one of those. So then I moved out of home, and when I came to Pune, it was one of the first things that I picked up. Without telling at home, like a couple of years later, I joined classes using the little saved up money that I had. But then I had to drop out from there as well. So that's how I think it started. It's not a very interesting story, but like for the longest time, like even when I had started to play with bands, I did not have a drum kit and like had this makeshift practice arrangement with like practice pads and pillows and like a second-hand pedal. Then slowly, like I got an endorsement with Soul Tone that helped me get some cymbals. And then a friend was very kind to lend me their drum kit. And only last year I got my own kit finally after starting to play with Exit Wound. So that's been the drumming journey. And my initiation into heavy music, it started with metal. Like it was just a boy, who gave me a playlist of like a lot of random like black metal bands. So I listened to like bands like Kalma and stuff like before I even found Metallica. So then slowly like I started exploring other bands and bands like Nirvana, Green Day, things like the ones that I still like were part of. Much later, I found Riot Girl bands and the Riot Girl movement that really defined also Exit Wounds, the way we look at music and the way we our songwriting, the things we talk about. So Bratmobile, Bikini Kill, Slater Kenny, those are like some of our common like inspirations that we really carry into the band's sound as well.
Awesome. Foley, what about you?
I think it was obvious. I was like nodding all along while Debbie was sharing the stories because I found all of them so relatable. Like growing in a scene, like not from the niche, right? I literally, far from the niche to be honest. Like when she said that she discovered Kalma first before she discovered Metallica, It was kind of the same. Like my point of entry were bands like late bands that became popular in the 90s, right? So 90s or like 2000s, those were the bands that I was introduced to at first. And then after I got into the music, that's when I kind of delved into the niche. So I was like nodding all along, like, yeah, that's so true. And like when she spoke about the instruments, right? That's kind of like my story too. Like I did not become a vocalist because I was like, oh, I want to be a vocalist, since I was a kid. I think it came out of like necessity and passion at the same time because I came from like a less privileged background and a family, so I didn't really have like the resources to be able to afford like any instruments. So this was the only way I could like get into the field. So I think, yeah, I can relate to that. The only difference would be like my point of entry like involved my brothers a lot. Yeah.
Cool. Pearl?
So for me, I started learning music very mindlessly as a kid. My mother, she wanted me to learn music. She wanted me to get into singing, pick up an instrument, take over the stage. So I grew up with my mother. I'm an adopted kid, and my mother used to be a single unmarried woman. And for me, she wanted me to get into music. But again, there was a certain kind of music that she wanted me to do. So I started learning classical music. Then I sang in the church choir. But again, it wasn't very interesting for me. There was nothing that moved me or made me feel any sort of passion or feeling towards music as a whole. And again, very randomly, I was just introduced to a bunch of metal music. And for the first time, I heard the song Skull Full of Maggots by Cannibal Corpse. And I was absolutely blown away because of how fun and silly and at the same time how scary it was. And it energized me, and I felt the need to consume more of that sort of music. And I feel that it's just the immense energy and larger than life sound of the genre that has kept me wanting more. And it's an unnatural yet very human way of expression, and I'm totally in for that. And yeah, my mother wasn't very happy about my obsession with metal music. She wondered why was I into this strange, loud sort of music, and I jokingly even tell her that if I'm to ever sing, it's only going to be in growls and shouts. And when we moved to Pune, so again, we were in a small town somewhere in Maharashtra, somewhere in Purandar Taluka. So we moved a lot because mother was a social worker. And when we moved to Pune and I started going to metal gigs, I just randomly discovered the metal scene in Pune, and I was really fascinated that, hey, there are so many people who like this kind of music, and it was very exciting for me. But yeah, my mother wasn't pleased uh, with all of this. She was like, what is this? What are you doing? But then she came to an understanding, and she was like, okay, fine. If you like metal music, why don't you do something about it? Why don't you pursue it? But then, yeah, life happened, and I was very distracted and busy with my life, trying to build a career and everything. So I just let go of that dream, and life happened, and mom passed away. And that event really shook me to my core, and I decided to pick up the mic to honor my mother's wishes and keep her presence alive in my life. And she was an amazing, bold, and independent woman who wanted me to live and love with purpose. And that's how I'm here. I think this is the least I could do for her.
That's awesome. Cool. Niharika.
I'm so sorry about your mom. That was really heartwarming to like hear. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, I think we all have commonalities in our story, and that's the thing of everybody else around you doesn't, get it, and they don't need to as well. That's the second half of finding why you like the things that you like. So for me, it started with my dad actually. So he's a tennis coach, and every day from morning, afternoon, we used to sit in his car, drive to the courts, and play all of the cassettes, all of your dad rock, all of, like it started from blues, it started from Buddy Guy, all of your blues legends actually. Then it went to reggae. So those are my core influences, right? And it made me want for more. It wasn't just about, okay, this is just a trip to a sport, right? So I started, yeah, listening to albums on repeat, kind of broke the tape like machine a lot of times by doing that. But yeah, I mean, like Jethro Tull, like Dire Straits, uh, Miles Davis, Tina Turner, all basically all of your funk, like retro stuff, right? Then came in my cousin when I was in sixth grade. He introduced me to Sepultura, and the first song, right, that I fell in love with is like Rata Mata. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but like the drums, like the whole feeling, even the video of it, it was so like it's a clay animation, right? So I'm looking at it and I'm feeling this. So yeah, from there it went from Stratovarius to Shine down to Nakshatras, all these different subgenres that I explored. Um, yeah, then in Bangalore, right? Way back, this I think this was the last year, and I was lucky enough to like witness it. So I would fight at home with my family and be like, okay, I want to go see a school fest. I want to go for this fest. I want to do something, right? They would never allow me because, yeah, from a convent girl high school, right? So I'm like, you know what? We'll go to Phenomenon, like this, like school fest, and they had Battle of the Bands back then, right? So I hated the fact that people were just standing, and like till date, I still have those friends there. So bands like Ilusha, right? Like I saw BAVC, like all these. When you're a kid and you see a band that is not just a YouTube video, it's live. That's a different experience, man. Like it was Inner Sanctum, Bavasi, like Cryptos, like all these bands would play all the school fests all year, right? So before that, you would have, yeah, like people my age going on stage, picking up a guitar, having original songs. And that was when I'm like, oh my God, like I want to be a part of this. I feel that, right? So it took off like that. And then you have your whole metal scene, twisted metal fest, all like i- indigo. I wasn't old enough to visit Styx, but I've heard a lot. But yeah, it wasn't just listening on my screen or a CD or a cassette. It grew beyond what music is as an experience, as a feeling, right? So yeah, that's that's my origins.
Cool. So just going off on a little tangent here. So today, when you're up on stage and you're, really tearing it up because you're all playing heavy music of one form or another, how are your civilian friends and family reacting?
Well, I'd say that majority of my friends and family is from the metal scene, and I don't have many associations. I'm a very isolated person. So, yeah, when I speak to normal people like my office colleagues, they don't understand it. They're like, okay, so you shout, so that's fine, that's good for you, but you do what you want to do and you enjoy what you are doing. So that's all. But I guess it's all about, I don't need to explain it to anyone because family members whom I'm who I connect with from time to time, they don't really know what I do or why do I do it. And it's okay. I guess it's okay because I have a family and I have friends here. So that's all that matters, I guess.
Yeah, well said.
Mm.
Phulee?
Uh, the sort of reaction that I initially received, and I still do, it's kind of mixed. So there's this immediate section, like my immediate families, they make fun of me, and especially my mom. This was exactly her comment in Dimasa. "Rabmatskala really ever zabnang." Na mishi jarkhole jarkhowa. Like if I'm gonna translate this to English, it means something like this. Like if you really wanted to do something artsy, why not like write a song where people can make at least heads or tails out of the lyrics, right? Well, why would you need to scream like a lioness on stage? That's embarrassing. That's what my mom said. And my my cousins and my relatives think that I'm probably kind of like nuts in the head. Like, after I didn't get into MBBS because that's what my parents wanted me to do initially. Now they don't I mean, now they don't like force me anymore, like to do stuff. So that's about it. But then, like a section of the people, like some section, like not my immediate circle, the people that I've met along the way, they had I mean, some of them, not all of them, some of them like kind of think that since I go really crazy on stage and do like extreme vocals, they think like this person is nuts. So like it might be this easy girl to the stuff, like the typical stuff that we face. So there's that. So it's like a mixed kind of reaction. But I think my favorite ones would be my family's reaction. But the interesting thing is that like even if they make fun of me to like and say like really interesting stuff in front of my face, but they kind of low key uh, maybe proud of me because they show my videos to my neighbors and my relatives, but while making fun of me. But kind of like indirectly trying to show that yeah, my daughter's doing something. So that's mine is a kind of like a funny one, to be honest.
Yeah, even screaming like a lioness from your translation feels like a backhanded compliment, right? I mean, your mom's still calling you a lion, so yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a compliment.
Yeah, cool. Debbie, what about you?
I don't have such close relations with my biological family when it comes to music, but I think I feel a lot of gratitude that so many queer and trans people come to our shows and listen to our music, although they might not vibe with punk music or heavy music per se, but just because of who we are and the um, kind of things we talk about, which is a lot about queerness and, anti-establishment stuff. So people from all these movement spaces and liberation spaces, we have made some great connections, I think, through Exit Wound and built a community, I feel, although small, but people who wouldn't come to these shows otherwise. But now they do because they see like some sort of resonance and representation, and that's how we've made like a lot of friends, I'd say. So yeah, that really
Nice.
matters.
Okay. Niharika.
So, after our EP was released with Goatsmoke, right, and we had Josh on it, and I made him listen to all of it, and my dad goes like, ಏನು ಅವ್ನು ಬರೀ ಕಿಚ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ in Canada. Okay, that means why is he only screaming? What is this? Like, I don't understand, right? So even if we are from, that background, it's very hard to come from clean to something more intense, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't really care actually about. I just like put some distortion on that, just like let the bass roar. That's all you can do, right? And even just because it's metal, or like I've seen heavy bass, I've heard heavy bass, right? Even when it's clean. So people have different stances on that. So I mean, I'm privileged enough that I have people who listen to this stuff, and they've always been there to like support. So yeah, all else is noise, I guess. Yeah.
Cool. So in your sorry, in your music, right? Do you see inspirations creeping in from non-musical sides, like whether it's politics, whether it's art, and how does that actually shape your music as well in terms of your lyrics, your delivery? Could be anything, but yeah, I'd be interested in knowing how all of this comes together. Debbie, you want to go first?
Okay. I think after all, like all of us are doing alternative and like radical music or heavy music in a third world context. So that comes with its own set of challenges and, the fucked up socio-political landscapes. So I feel like we draw a lot of inspiration from, instead of looking to the West, like from musicians who are from caste oppressed backgrounds, around us, or queer and trans musicians or bands who are talking about the actual risky stuff and things that, actually matter. Um, like I'm just thinking of Inshallah Babes, for example, who are talking about caste oppression, transness, ecological devastation, displacement, and really asking questions directed at states and corporations. And I think they are like such a great example of a band that is doing this actual risky work that comes with very real threats, especially in our political landscape today. And I feel like that is the whole point of doing radical music, and that really inspires me. And also, like, we had the pleasure of sharing stage with DIY Disruption, and like hanging out with them and talking to them. And I feel like, especially AJ, is like so brilliant. And I feel like their music, of course, but also their self-expression on stage, in a scene that is like quite queer negative, in a lot of ways. That's something so powerful and inspiring. And yesterday, like I was thinking about this time quite long ago. My vocalist Doel and I and another friend, we were just drinking and actually watching Phulee's interview with Unite Asia. Yeah, it was this old video, and that really stayed with me. And we were like, oh my God, what a badass. So, how you grounded way, which was like so relatable, and that really stayed. So I feel like inspiration is like all around, like also in the movement spaces and these liberation spaces that I get to be part of, like the queer movement, animal liberation, disability justice, or the movements that I get to witness, like the anti-caste movement. And there are like so many lessons to, learn from that. And I feel like being part of these intersections of music and movement spaces, there is a lot of hopelessness and there is a lot of grief. That also seeps into our music, but there is also a lot of hope and a lot of resistance to work on. So I feel all of that really shapes our sound and the way we see the world, really. And recently, actually last year, our music was part of a compilation It was a queer and ally punk compilation by Plastic Wound Records that featured some really amazing bands like Matric Attack, Phosphor. So through this, we sort of got connected to bands who are making, talking about similar things in their different contexts outside of India. So that project was also something really inspiring. And yeah, we hope to like keep talking about these things and shitting on the establishment.
Can I go
You're muted,
second?
Bob.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I thought GK said something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I really wanted to jump in on whatever Debbie said, right? I have mad respect for you because of for all the stuff that you've been doing. Like the punk scene is so active right now, and what you stand for, what you guys think for. I'm not lying when I say that you kind of are an idol to me for all the stuff that you're doing right now. And the fact that you can articulate all these things in your songs, in your movement, everything, that takes courage, and it's something I would say it's pretty ballsy. That's badass. And don't you ever stop, because all of us are gonna be with you no matter what happens. Like no matter what happens. And regarding the political aspect, right? So that's the really interesting thing about me. So when we say that music, like there's learning in everything, I was one of those people, one of the stupid people, I would say, who would be like, "Oh, I don't do politics because, you know." Although I'm one of the first people who gets influenced by anything that happens in politics or in the political sphere, right? Because I am from that marginalized background. I'm not even like from a well-to-do family financially. So I'm one of those people who would get affected, but like talk about the level of ignorance. I was one of those people who would be like, yeah, I didn't do shit about politics. It was after I joined the band, like in the year like 2017, when I started meeting people from the scene, and I learned like what they stood for, and I delved into it, and I learned that no, the whatever I was doing, like whatever kind of stance I was taking at that point before I joined the band was stupid. And that's when I really got into it. And now I kind of have become like this, like not aggressive, I would say, like kind of like a radical anti-establishment person after all that. So I think the what I wanted to say was it's like 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 a circle, like something, like the music influenced the people influences the music kind of thing, and I'm the other category. And I owe it all to the people like Debbie, because it's because of people like her that someone like me could get into it, could get influenced by the right things and stand for the right things. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Well said. Yeah. Yeah, Niharika.
I have the same emotions as Phulee with Debbie as well. I've seen her organize stuff. I haven't caught her band live, but I have seen all the stuff that goes on. And I'm not just talking about being in a band, writing music that you really, really connect with on a political level. It's also the shit that you have to deal with, just when you want to express an opinion. That's it, right? So, and I've seen this happen so many times on so many different stages, where what is the point of art? What is the point of creating? What is the point of expressing yourself? Like, for me, it's like I am into like multidisciplinary stuff, right? So, music, you have art, be it organizing or literature, right? I view every single thing, everything in this world is political, all of it. You cannot separate yourself from politics. So, that being said, music is a literary device. That's how I've always viewed it. All your movements, listen to why do we talk about the blues? Why do we talk about reggae? Think about a band called Death, right? Like the punk, like proto punk band, right? That, and then you have Bad Brains. What do they stand for? So even there was this one post by uh Tetrarch's guitarist, right? And it was like she's playing and she's like, you know why I smile? And everybody is like, you're in a metal band, you can't smile on stage. And she goes like, she's a black woman, right? And she just says, I'm smiling because I've worked my ass off for this opportunity and nobody will understand, right? And that's really powerful. I've seen a lot of people, um not just in the metal scene, um all over, because music, it's vast. I know we are on a metal podcast, okay, but yeah, with politics, how I see music is how I paint. I see music in textures. I see sound. Sound is very important to me. I love like understandings. I love the whole concept of it. So yeah, I mean, if you can't explain that to a person, they won't get it, right? And I think that's the beauty of art. I think that's the beauty of communication. Um, Historically as well. Why do you think we have cave paintings, man? Why do you think we have drums in the first place? Yeah, all your instruments, bone carved out of everything. It's an innate need to create. So yeah, everything influences everything. And especially in the scene, yeah, you can't just say, okay, Macha, just like separate the music from the musician, bro. And you can't do that and go off, bro. Like, what the fuck you are? Fucking TV9 and what? But like, yeah, anyway. So yeah, everything's connected. And yeah, realizing it's like a book. It's like layers and layers. So finding people to collaborate with you and who have the same ideology is also very, very important. Um, or do it by yourself, man. Stand up and do your shit. It's your view. Can't separate it.
Cool. Pearl.
So I think that there's something very intimate about people who do what they love. It gives me immense hope. It gives me energy. It melts my heart, and I feel really fulfilled. And it's great to be inspired by your favorite artists, but there's nothing more that inspires and moves me like the people that I know personally when they put themselves out there and make art, create, and try to better themselves in their art. I just hope that they keep going and keep doing what they're doing and be an inspiration to people like me. So, yeah, thank you for inspiring me. And yeah, I feel inspired by whatever you guys have to say. And yeah, it's really moving.
No, seriously, yeah, this last round was just some amazing fucking answers. So thank you. Thank you for just speaking out like this. Really appreciate it. But moving on, right? You've all been in the scene for a few years now, for a lot of years in some cases. What do you think of our scene, broadly speaking, as a country today? Is it where you would like it to be? Or are we a long way off from an ideal state?
It's like one doom metal outro, bro. That's how far we are. Little bit. Interesting.
There are so many things like I mean I would need to write a monologue for this one for this. Like if you ask me if the scene, if everything that we have right now in the scene is what we hope and what we could be satisfied with, no, far from it, to be honest. We need more people, we need more acceptance. And I am going to double down on what Debbie said, like about the queer scene, right? I've seen a lot of metalheads a lot of, not just metalheads, a lot of people, like even the punks, like, and that's the irony of it. Uh, like when we say punk, we're supposed to be we're supposed to be anti-establishment. Not supposed to be. I mean, that's how this entire thing started. So you can't exactly be into this music and be shitting on and be a stuck-up ass person who wants to keep the thing, everything as a status quo, like very rigid, like it has to be this, it has to be that. And there are people who are not very accepting of that. Like for example, I've known musicians, I can't call them out exactly because for some reason um I still have to deal with them out here. So they don't like the LGBTQ plus community. I've seen them commenting like really vile stuff on like some Instagram post. Like if you don't like it, just scroll it. That's that option too. Okay, even if you're a shit person, you can't change yourself, which you should. But even if you can't, just freaking scroll away, right? But they will have to be there and even write stuff like, "Oh, mere samne mat dikhiyo, I'll beat the shit out of you," kind of comments. There's that. So things like that need to change in the scene. So no, we need, there's so many things like yet to happen. And even considering women's safety and acceptance, like whatever Niharika said, right? Like, ah, you're metal, like, why do you need to smile? I didn't know there was a rule book that said something like that. And I got the same comment as well. Because I wear like really colorful clothes on stage. Not colorful, but like not exactly what they might have had in mind. So probably because of that, they would be like, "Oh, how can you be metal? Like you do this. Oh, how can you be punk because you play in a metal show?" Like so I kind of feel like I don't even belong, and I don't think that should be that. That's kind of aspirational. That's good in no way. So yes, I agree. We've come a long way because when we first started off as Retromist, I think I would know like probably two musicians in this entire no, more than there must have been more than two, but like probably like three or four musicians, women musicians in the entire Northeast. So from that to where we are now, we have obviously Debbie, all of you girls, and then we have German. So many musicians popping up. So many people are picking up instruments and doing the thing. We've moved a long way, but so many things that need to change, that needs to get better, and I hope we can do that. We should probably write or speak about all of this in our gigs and in our songs as well.
Sorry. Yesterday, my vocalist Doyle and I, we were just joking that the scene should be destroyed for all of the things that you mentioned, Phulee, and I cannot like agree hard enough. And to add to that, I think there is also like a lot of gatekeeping. I think the gender ratio has become better over the years. Like when I started going to gigs, there used to be like 5 girls, max 10 in like the bigger cities. But now there are more. But then over the years, I've also seen like so many women and queer folks and non-binary folks just exit the scene because of all the toxicity. So I think while cosmetically, like optically, it might feel like, oh, there are more women, but we also need to account for all the women and queer folks who have left and why. And then we are told like, oh, metal is just a phase for y'all, but it's like much more than that. It's about whether there is space for you to belong here. And that's why so many people just leave. And the gatekeeping also shows in how you will see like so many lineups that have the same bands repeating the same big bands with a lot of clout, and how much space is there for smaller and like newer bands. So yeah.
I completely agree with Debbie on that thought. That's all I would do. And honestly, I've been raised like a guy, okay? Like by my dad and like, everyone. So that doesn't mean that you are ignorant to everything else that's happening around you. I come from a point of there is nothing called a safe space. Nothing. Nowhere on this planet, right? Even in your own head, there is nothing called a safe space. You need to defend yourself. Um, Even when new crowds are coming in, that doesn't mean that what they expect is what they're gonna get. So I've seen so many gigs. They're like, oh wait, this is what is happening. Okay, so I will stand in front of them. Stand up for your girls, dude. Like, stand up for them. Like, they don't know how a mosh pit works. They just come in, this like their first gig. Most of these are kids as well, right? So talking in terms of safety, because yeah, it's way different when you're in a band, and it's also, you realize the audience is way, way larger, right? As like a population, that's where you got to target stuff. And yeah, just making sure everything around you see. And I've seen this a lot, like a lot. Okay, every single gig, I'm literally like this. Okay, I'm just on the. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like, oh man, I have to brace myself. What if something happens? What if something happens to my friends? I'm always like that. So yeah, I mean, guys will come, your friends will come, they'll beat whoever the fuck they want. But yeah, talking about safety, this is one thing. Uh, Another thing is that this whole internalized misogyny, okay? And I'm gonna outright just say this, for years and years I've been in this scene. It is a deep part of someone, and you can't take it out of yourself unless and until you realize that it slowly corrodes what your perception of reality actually is. So when something really, I don't know, sad occurs or like whatever, I'm like, oh my God, how did this happen? Oh wait, this is a whole systemic thing, right? So it goes deep that way. And instead of being like, I will defend you, I will do this, no, like, did you what did you do as a person um to speak your truth, right? It goes I'm sorry, I feel like I'm just I'm like
No, no,
thinking in
go on.
images, so I'm like translating those into words. Sorry about that, but it's a lot. And it's even when you are on stage, okay, and I've witnessed this all over. Like, we played in Pune, we played in Kerala as well, right? With Goatsmoke. They don't treat you like a band member, okay, first of all. So I go up on stage, I have my bass around me, I'm setting up all my pedals and stuff. They're like, oh, madam, why you're on stage? Like, are you helping band? Your merch? I'm like, brother in Christ, I'm part of it. Like, relax. So it's the same treatment everywhere, right? And it's also having bands perform, and that doesn't automatically mean like you're really cool, you're like a rock star, you can have that attitude, get drunk and do some shit, right? You don't do that. At the end of the day, why are you there? Why are you playing the music that you do? Just because you're like screwed up in the head, don't make it a bad scene for everyone else around you, right? And there are funny incidents as well, but largely for women, and I don't think this gets talked about enough or at all, actually. And I saw Debbie's post about her first gig, and how there's so much backlash. It's so like, dude, to do what you are doing right now, it took so many years. It took so long, and you're like up there, and you're like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna play this, and I don't care. And majority of, yeah, the gatekeeping, and like the gatekeeping comes because you automatically have this agenda of, this is our world, nobody else can touch it, right? So yeah, man, like, even that, yeah, okay, sorry. I feel like I went on. It's just, it struck a chord in me, man. Like, it's a lot. And dealing with organizers, dealing with shit that goes bad every gig, none of the guys have to face it. Yeah, why? Because you're the only girl. So they'd be like, oh, yeah, this is your band, right? Yeah, you did this, right? See, stuff like that. So it's easier to put it on the woman, right? And that's it. Yeah, it's the whole thing, man.
Can I add one thing? Like, can I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it just me, or like have any of you guys experienced this too? Like, as a woman in the scene, for some reason, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people don't take you seriously as a musician. So when they kind of introduce you on stage or for a gig or anything, they specifically put out like, like female fronted band. Like, in a way, they
Female
are,
bassist.
yeah, or like female front, like female basses, but for some
Yeah.
reason they like to use the tag, like it's kind of, I don't know what exactly to pin it, because I'm not really uh good at defining things, but that's kind of odd. Like, they use the tag to actually sell their gigs, or to try to reel in crowd by kind of like
Yes.
sexualizing women, I think. Is
Yes.
it just me, or like have you guys encountered it as well? But they'll never see you as like, oh man, this like this girl writes like really cool music, or write really nice bass lines, or like, oh, she's a drummer who can be on par with anything. Even don't even take you seriously as a musician, but to sell you using your gender or your sex. Like, have you guys experienced that as well?
Well, I really haven't experienced that because both of my bands just market themselves as really neutral metal bands. So I haven't faced that, and I just want to do my thing, and I do that, and that's about it, I guess. But it is very saddening to hear that bands actually market themselves as that, which is really shit.
No, not just the
Right.
bands. Like, some
The events
bands do
itself,
that,
maybe.
but like even the like organizers and like
I,
I'll give you an example someday.
sorry, I'd like to completely not have that tag of a female fronted band or shit like that, because it should just be neutral, and it's about making music and expressing and going out there with your band, with the support of your band, and just making music and having a good time. So I don't think that we should be divided like that.
Right. Exactly. And I hate it when people, especially, I'm just speaking this on a personal experience, okay? I hate it when people tag my band Retromist as a female fronted band. Like, there's no like female led band. There is no female led band in Retromist. This is a personal viewpoint. Everybody's like, I half of the times I don't even get a say. Like, my guitarist, my drummer, my bassist, they're like, oh, we don't like this part, no, we're not gonna keep that part. So all of us are on equal footing. So I hate that. I really wanted to get this out of my chest, when people write Retromist as a female fronted band.
Oh, if you ever feel like that, I don't think so. You should associate with those kind of people, or I know people say shit, but it's best to, protect yourself, protect your energy. You know that you're here in the scene to make a difference, to voice your opinions, to sing your songs, make music. So let the other people just shout their shit. I don't think that we should be tagged as something extraordinary, because at the end of the day, it's just music, and it's for the scene, it's for the metal scene. And although it's male dominated, we are here to, make a change, and we are here to invite more of those girls who come to our gigs. We are here to, be there for them, and um, they could be inspired by us and, take forward the music.
I think I've become also very cautious about playing gigs that are, women centric, So like around Women's Day, there will be a gig of like metal punk bands that have at least like one woman. I used to like we played a couple of those because we thought they were like good intentions, but then the experience has been like we saw it how tokenistic it was. Cis men leading these women-centric gigs, which I mean the irony of it. So at least for me personally, like even before this podcast, when you reached out, I asked who all are gonna be here. And just because it was you all, I'm here. But then I'm like super wary of this. The tokenizing instead of celebrating something or like acknowledging something. And in terms of labeling as women fronted or, things like that, I feel like I know queer bands or like trans fronted bands who actively call themselves fronted by a trans woman or something like that because they have fought so hard to have that space and that to be able to do what they do. But I think what matters is how you choose to define yourself and whether someone else is exploiting that and tokenizing that. So I think calling ourselves a certain fronted band or artist, that itself is not so much of a problem as much as how organizers or audiences or mainstream like media cultures exploit it and tokenize it. So then that I feel becomes the problem.
Um, yeah, I had a lot of expressions and emotions there when Phulee was talking. Yeah, because oh man, like this is I can't even tell you how much I connect with this, right? And every time somebody says that, and yeah, to me, I just laugh it off. Okay, but then now I'm thinking, holy shit, like people actually think like this. And I think it's important that we realize that this whole tag, this label only, why does it only exist in our country, dude? Like, if you go abroad, like who says like all female band? Like girls' school was an all female band. Lemmy was just like, bro, let me like support you. He put them up there, and he had all the power too, without like tokenizing. So my whole thing is that you're not a poster girl, dude. Like you're not selling something. You're doing something that is so deep. Music is a, an extension of you. Who wants to play in a space where everybody is like this, right? How do you feel comfortable? And I don't know about you guys, but with creating or creativity itself, you gotta get yourself in that space, in a thing to create, to be open, right? So yeah, there are so many musicians out there. They haven't got the opportunity or the chance, or we just don't know. Um, and especially, man, like I'm talking about since I was then, okay? This whole thing of, oh, you have a girl in your band. Okay, yeah, we'll just like put them for like, representation purposes. Okay, like done. No, man, no. Don't use your gender to like push your agenda to, sell more tickets, man. We're not like people don't come to see you entertain. They don't come to see you stand on stage and do nothing, right? All of us here, right? We're doing something. We're like it's your skills, your talent, but they look sexualized. Yeah, sexualized. I'm just gonna say it. Sexualize your body instead of listening to your music. And I think for the longest time that was my fear. Being on stage, all my anxiety, right, was there. And slowly that started, I'm like, yo, fuck this. Like, I'm here to do what I want to do. That's it. It's my heart. I don't care. But yeah, it's sad, man, that this happens. But I think it needs to be said because a guy taking off his shirt and playing guitar, right? Where that's freedom, that's your privilege. Yeah, cool. It's a difference. It's a vast difference. You can't be yourself. Yeah, be free. So, yeah, that's it.
But yes, be yourself and do your thing.
Yeah.
And don't take to your heart these shit comments, because people are always going to say something or the other. Just go out there and have fun.
So how do we make this scene better?
First of all, like whatever's first of all, yeah, no groping, no thinking that, no sexualizing women. Be like, oh, she's crazy on stage. Oh, she's a like. There's some people, not all of them. Okay, I'm not in no way generalizing. Not everybody is the same. But she's easy, like easy to get her in bed. Not that kind of thing. That needs to definitely change. First of all, like make it safe for women, and secondly, yeah, like if we are going to accept like the women in the scene, if we're going to accept all of us, then it should not just be performative. It should actually mean something. You should actually have that thing like, oh yeah, these people can do it. Like they'll improve, they'll get better. That thing, that's that number two. Number three, whatever Debbie said, right? I actually didn't look at it from that perspective. Like this identity thing, it can be a little pain in the ass sometimes for some people, but yeah, the fact that she said that like they identify themselves as that because for what they're fought to be in the scene, because we know the discrimination. So yeah, all of these things should be accepted. Yeah, and I think we can all, that we're talking about it now, we should talk about it with the rest of our friends as well, so we can spread the message. We should talk about all of these in the songs, and these are the things that needs to change. You guys, what do you think?
I just want to share an experience like from a gig that we played, and then also tell you like how we could imagine it to be like different. So we were playing this show, and at the end of our set, we said, "Free Kashmir, Free Palestine," and there were this bunch of like right wingers in the audience who started like while we were still on stage like abusing us and threatening us, and once we were off stage they came after us, like physically came after us in the venue to intimidate us. And at that point the organizer did try to like de-escalate it, which is the least that someone can do. But then so this happened, and then a few days later, I don't know if you remember or you followed it, the whole MCBC debate started on socials, right? And some people were like, oh, a bunch of dudes chanting MCBC is like freedom of expression, and we cannot have that like taken away, and you should be able to do this at gigs. So then I was like, actual freedom of expression is being able to go on stage and say free Kashmir, free Palestine, and not get threatened for it. Um, in, Whereas, like, you're getting riled up for not being able to chant MCPC, which you will do anyway at every gig, and nothing will happen to you. So, why are our priorities like so misplaced? So, I think in terms of being like thinking about what we can do to make the scene better, I think get our priorities straight. Like what actually matters? What are the risks that come with, asking the hard questions and talking about shit that matters? Because best case, like we know for a fact that uh, organizers will think twice now before giving us a gig in that city, and that affects our trajectory as a new band. So this is the best case scenario. And the worst case scenario is you get slapped with sedition for saying something like this and you get thrown in jail in our political context, right? So how do we make space for these things? How do we see these experiences and set our priorities right? And also, another instance I wanted to share is long back at this really big metal festival, I was assaulted. And then, so that was a very jarring experience. But still, after that year, I still went back to that festival a couple more times. But then during the Me Too movement, when I chose to talk about that episode of assault, during that time, the organizer and their friends and the abuser and their friends, they just victim blamed me to no end and really made my life miserable. And I faced like a lot of harassment and unsafety. online, and it really took a toll on my mental health. And after that, I did not go back to that festival ever again. So it was not the assault that stopped me from going ever again, but how people responded to it when I chose to talk about it. I was not believed, and I was not acknowledged, although there were like eyewitnesses who said that, we saw this happen. So like I organize gigs now, like the small gig called Dirt Fest, and I know that as an organizer, you cannot control everyone's behaviors who come to your gig, but the least that you can do is when things go south, you are supposed to like listen to the person who has faced something in your space, and you are expected to like support them, like ask them how they would like to be supported. And that's something that I have been very mindful about in trying to integrate into Dirt Fest, like that sort of a culture. Like we put out an open declaration that, if something goes wrong, you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, please do come and talk to us, and we will listen to you and we'll support you in how you want to address it. So these are, I think, some things that we can do. And I feel like especially organizers, they have a huge responsibility in when we talk about safety and all of this, because concert spaces are being held by them. And if you take credits for a gig going very well, then you are also accountable for something wrong, happening in your space. So you cannot evade that responsibility. So I feel like that's something is really missing in the scene, the misplaced priorities and organizers' accountability. And I feel like we really need that like so urgently.
Debbie, I'm really sorry to hear what happened with you. And yeah, definitely people need to take up accountability, and people need to step up and do the right thing. It's disheartening to hear all of this. Maybe I just live in my own bubble. But yeah, this has been a real eye opener, and it's horrible. The horrors out there are horrible.
It makes me angry, honestly. Um, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and I'm also sorry that you had to shout in a room where you just needed to whisper to be heard. I'm sorry. So, while we're talking about a scene or a subculture, and we know all the advantages, like we love the scene. We came here for self-expression. We came here to do something with our art, right? So your safe space is not safe anymore. Where do you go? So you love live gigs. One experience is enough to be like, dude, I hate this, right? So instead of thinking how, yeah, again, as you all said, like instead of thinking how to make it a safe space, we got to keep asking questions as to why it isn't safe. Why shit like this keeps repeating again and again, and it's not getting any better at all. So sometimes you can't go behind and sort of rip it apart and be like, okay, let's do open heart surgery right now. Okay, I understand that. But what you can do is stop being such a jackass and actually listen to what somebody is saying about their experience. Um, and this whole thing of, oh, like it's a Facebook rant. Oh, she went to Instagram with this. Bro, they went to Instagram for a reason. They went to Facebook they wrote that shit for a reason, right? So if it's that, like, in this whole thing of, oh, I don't believe the girl, I don't believe, like, maybe she did something. Men get harassed too. Are you gonna say like, oh, I don't believe the man? Like, obviously you're gonna like say that because that's also internalized patriarchal, like systems at work. But these can happen to you with strangers in a gig. This can happen to you with known friends as well. And one thing that I've always taught myself is like, you cannot be you can't let loose. I would love to, man. I would love to be like, fuck, I want to enjoy this whole thing, like, as though nothing. No, I've never, like, I mean, except for like a few local shows that we've done in Bangalore, where I know that I know everyone, I know, like, it's peaceful. There is uncertainty at the end of the day. Um, so all that we can do is open this discussion up, and I'm really glad that this podcast is happening, because I haven't, seen like everyone together. Like, I know you all have individual, interviews and podcasts, but it's a start. It's the beginning, right? Um, if we keep letting everybody who or has the privilege of not experiencing this stuff, where will our voice go? Where do our stories go? So yeah, it's not Kabin Park aunties sitting over there and like bitching about everything in the world. No, man, this is something that needs to be done. Organizers, venue, and yourself. I would say that though. Yourself. Learn how to fucking defend yourself, bro. That's it. Like, even with your closest people, learn how to defend. Like, and also, like, people mistake kindness for vulnerability. That. And yeah, just protect your space, as Paul said. Um, yeah.
I just wanted to add that I really want to acknowledge how hard also it is to always keep fighting, and there are folks who have had it like way worse than us, and to always keep asking questions. So I think it's equally legit to not do anything about it and to just be tired of being here and just to like show the middle finger to the scene and get the fuck out. And if that what helps you survive and thrive, like do it.
I wanted to add this. Like, Niharika said this right. Like, you can't feel safe around strangers or even with your close ones. So, I wanted to add this. Like, when it's coming from a stranger, it's just easy to punch them in the face because that's an aggression. But it's a little different when it comes from the close ones, because sometimes it ends. Sometimes you end up questioning yourself if you were the one like who did something that might have instigated it, and that thing happens. And whatever Debbie said, right? Like, just not do anything, be tired of it, and get out of it. I think that's what most of us kind of did. And especially because this kind of predators kind of exist, like in spaces where we cannot get out from. So yeah, there's that. But just if anybody is watching this, if anybody, the people who wants to join the scene, even if it's coming from the close ones or the strangers, if you feel uncomfortable in any way, it's not you.
Speaking on that, right? What would be your advice or maybe pointers for young people looking to get into this scene?
I feel that if you're young and you want to get into the scene, it is, first of all, it's really expensive to, be in a band. It's like a very expensive hobby. So you need to have your finances straight. You need to have your time in space. You need to manage your time well enough if you're passionate to do music. You need to have your priorities straight, because juggling music along with doing a day job, or juggling family life, it's pretty difficult. So many of the young musicians, I feel, they just go into this circle of, oh, we are going to jam and it's going to be fun and we're going to make music. But many times, people get into bad habits, drug abuse and alcohol abuse. And so, yeah, if you really are serious about making the music, you need to first, discipline yourself. There has to be a certain level of discipline. And yeah, pretty it's pretty expensive. So please add on to something.
I would say know who you are individually, as how much music means to you before um, being lost in this whole thing of, okay, fine, this is like everything happens so fast in a band as well, right? Um, know what you like, um, and don't be afraid to express your ideas. And if you also feel like you have to shout in a room and shout to be heard, or your ideas don't make sense. I'm not just talking about bands here, I'm talking about everybody who I've collaborated with, um, and seen other musicians like do the same thing. It's that everybody processes art differently, or everybody views or sort of like learns music differently, also, I would say, right? Um, there's a whole world out there. This is not just the only scene. If you want, like, yeah, you get your shit together first, sort out your whole life, and this whole thing of teenage rebellion, it won't stay. You got to take care of don't just be like, oh bro, I'm gonna like, I'm in the metal scene, I'm gonna like go to a, I'm too cool for life and shit, and like stop giving a shit about your other friends if you have them, right? It shouldn't be like this is your whole world, because sometimes if and when you know you have to go back to your ground, right, or your roots, this shouldn't be all that you have done in your life. Who are you as a musician first? As Debbie said as well, and I really really resonate with this, Debbie. It's like just say fuck you, and like don't react, don't do anything, just put it out in your music, I would say. So if you want, like, if the whole world has disappointed you with collaborating or this and that, right? Fuck it, dude. Do your own shit. Record your own bass. Make a whole album. Like, limitations, they kill art. They kill creativity. And there's so much to do in this life. There's going
Yeah,
back, like even yeah,
sorry, just do what you like and
yeah.
just pursue your passions and have some discipline around it.
Yeah, and it's also this whole, not everybody is going to so I'm coming from a space where I'm an artist, and basically everything is to be taken seriously, but the world won't when you first get started, right? Um, art is discipline. When you're making a painting or you're doing a commission piece, right? And you want people to take your art seriously as well, you don't just undersell your work. You don't just say, oh, bro, like, just take it to AI. You got to take yourself seriously first. That's all I would say, to get anybody else to give a shit about you. And honestly, it's like if you're sitting in a room and you're listening to yourself, and trust me, I've like learned from like all these old folks from Sunday Jam, Freedom Jam, right, who played everywhere, all over the fucking world, in India as well. And they have a lot to say, man. They've been here from even before Millennium. Vinny saw from Lucid Dreams, like back when it all started with heavy music, I don't know about other cities, but I'm just talking about Bangalore because I fucking love this city, man. Like, holy shit. Okay, so it's something so local, right? Like, first EP is called What's the Scene, Bob, right? And everyone's like, bro, who the fuck is Bob, right? This is all I've learned in my school, in my college. This is how to take the world less seriously, but also make it a part of where you are right now. Collect sounds from your neighborhood, collect stories from your neighborhood, um, and friends especially. Like, I'm not just saying, oh, bro, like relatives, family. No, no, no. These are your close friends, man. Like, keep them close and work and explore so much more with sound. Don't be afraid, I guess. Yeah, practice hard. That's it. Just practice. That's all is key.
Phulee, Debbie, anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, I think I need advice from younger people. I don't have any advice to give them. Because when I talk to them, like younger bands, I don't want to generalize, but like largely, I feel like they're way more sorted than I was, at their age. And I talk to these, younger musicians playing in bands here, and they tell me like, oh, we are fed up of the scene already, and it's so toxic, and like we don't want to be part of it. And that gives me hope. Like they're seeing through the bullshit, which we didn't. And I know of experiences like that their friends have had who have faced, unsafe things in the scene or at gigs, and they believe them and they have made space for them, in their own ways, which was a culture. I'm not saying like it's a culture across right now, but I know of these experiences, and they really do like make me happy, which was something that was really missing when I was growing up in the scene. And I think they are a lot less afraid, a lot of them actually, to ask the hard questions, to really understand. Like when we play our shows, Exit Wound, although we are much older than our average audience. So our audience is like people of our age, they do not find as much resonance as younger people are, to our music, because they're seeing the politics. It gets across like much easier to them. So I think I just say like keep doing that and keep being this way. And you never know, like today you're playing in a band, tomorrow you might not. It's a capitalistic world that we are living in. Like all these things will happen. And it's not the end of the world if your band disbands or you don't get to play so often. But what really matters is seeing the bullshit that goes on, to see and hear the experiences of your friends, to stand by them, and to really, understand the politics of doing this kind of music. Yeah.
Yeah, Phulee.
Yeah, agree with everything Debbie said. Most of the kids who are joining the scene now, they know much more than I do musically, uh, psychologically. So I'm like she said, like we need advice from them. But if okay, considering or just assuming that there may be some people like me who start planning to start out and who's ignorant as me, I would say uh you're gonna like, it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows. You're going to hear a lot of shit, especially if you're a woman or from the minority. So there's that. And secondly, please record your songs and get your finance sorted. Just like Pearl said, like it is an expensive hobby, and it's fine even if you're doing it just as a hobby. It's fine if you don't want to continue it in the like forever. But if you want to do it professionally, like you need to get your finances sorted. You need to like plan your finances well, and always have because, like we said, we live in India, and we don't have a very vibrant scene where we can make money off of just playing metal music. So you need to have at least a plan B to make sure that you don't have to make a choice between putting food on the table and playing music or like pursuing your hobbies. So there's that. But I think like the kids these days already know that. They're so smart. I feel dumb like just like hanging around with the younger generation.
So I'm going to slip in a cliched interview question now. Okay, just as we slowly start to wrap this up because I know we've been at this for a while now. But for each of you, right, what is your absolute favorite memory of being on stage? What was that one gig experience that you think back and it makes you smile?
I think mine is a very embarrassing memory also. There was a song that we all fucked up in different capacities. And like we were just free jamming on stage. And I panic a lot. So I was panicking and like playing whatever. And the best part was our bassist didn't even realize that we played the entire song wrong. So that's what happened. And I think the other memory that I will remember is not a good memory, but like Dole just, saying free Kashmir, free Palestine. And I think that was such a powerful statement. And everything that followed really proved our point, really. And we also found a lot of solidarity after that happened. Like apart from the bullshit, there were also bands that stood by us and supported us from the punk scene and the hardcore scenes. So that I really hold very dear to my heart.
Pearl?
For me, I guess, so my mom would often rant about when are you going to write your first song? When are you going to write your first album? When are you going to be there on stage? And after she passed away, an entire year went by and I joined a band. I formed a band and it was her death anniversary. A day before her death anniversary was the exact date of my first gig with my band. And that was a really high moment for me. And that's where I felt that, hey, I did something. I achieved something. But unfortunately, mom isn't here to see that. But I felt fulfilled at that point. And yeah, I've not looked back ever since.
Yeah.
There have been so many gigs, honestly, man. Like, I think every gig has been such a beautiful, different experience, to be honest. Like, no matter what, like, yeah, there are negative things, like, whatever, but when you're up there and you're like doing something that you really, really love, and there are people jumping over the PA system, and like, actually, like, grooving to what y'all wrote, right? And I think that's the most beautiful experience. And every set would end with Devil's Lettuce, right? And there's one tapang, like, section right there. And we would sort of build up until there. And it, every gig was beautiful, man. I'll just say that. I loved being on stage and loved playing with these guys. Um, yeah, and it's also whatever we went through in our lives, with the grief, with losses. We used this stage to dedicate everybody that helped us, um, who were musicians, who were very integral to our lives also. So I think the dedications was really nice. We started getting into flow stuff as well. So all these gigs, man, I don't have one sort of, experience where, yeah, it's just that, like, the stage will be vibrating, it'll be like bouncing up and down, it'll be too funny, but it's beautiful, man, to have an opportunity as well to and be like do your shit and get noticed also. that small girl in a room with just a small radio, like a boombox, or not even that, just like random shit, right? Something happened. So, yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Mine would be, I have two. Mine would be one, the gig we played in Nepal. It was crazy. Uh, and the memorable one, if we're gonna talk about it, like we had the craziest. We played first and still had the craziest mosh ever. The people out there are so cool in Nepal. We had this one moment where our guitarist was playing the riffs and somebody jumped over her, over the stage. It was like crazy pogo dancing. It was insane. It's stuck in my head, and I have to say the person who jumped off over Nami's head, my guitarist's head, was the vocalist of Torak. And I will take this moment to give a shout out to Torak. I'm not sure if they're still active, but they're a really really good band, one of the most interesting bands in Southeast Asia, I mean South Asian scene. And they have this one song called Tarika Cha, which means "Is this the way?" And I think they talk about police brutality in that song. And gotta say, you guys, like people, whoever's watching this, should definitely check them out. And the second memory would be our first gig, like Debbie said, it was a hilarious gig. I couldn't even scream. I sounded like a cat being strangled to death. Please, I'm sorry for the obscene, for mentioning this obscene thing, but it kind of sounded like, I was like gasping for air. And it was technically our first gig, so we had a bassist jumping over the fence going somewhere without a bass. We had a with Nami screwed up too. Yeah, it was before Retromist kind of became Retromist, so I'm sorry Nami for mentioning this. but this, but this is but this is the second memorable thing that I have to mention. So yeah, this is
Cool. So, last question for all of you, right? What does the future look like for each of you, whether it's the band, your personal growth as musicians, artists? Where do you see yourselves going with this? Pearl?
I definitely look forward to writing more, creating more, jamming more with my bands, and just go one step at a time, I guess. And I just want to be able to do this peacefully and enjoy the journey, I guess. That's all.
Debbie?
I think for the band, we are writing our EP now, so that's a priority for this year. We have paused gigs for a bit because that if you're doing gigs, you can't really focus on songwriting and getting shit done. So that's gonna be a large part of the year. For myself, I'm a very like unambitious person. I don't have big goals around drumming or like my musical journey. I do it for the joy of it. So yeah, nothing really for myself.
Phulee?
Uh, Mine would be to be able to finally finish the EP that we've been planning for the past 2 years. I beg my musicians, please, let's get this done, please. And yeah, second, I would really like to start a proper hardcore, like a scene, like a proper hardcore scene. I'm sick of being clumped in with all the metal bands and sometimes with the hard rock bands. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but I mean, for once, I would love to play a gig where we will all like sing about the same stuff and like have the same kind of vibe. So just those two.
Yeah, so I've been taking this time off just to reconnect with music again, and it's been beautiful. So yeah, I'm coming up with my solo project. I don't know if it's going to be a full length or like an EP as of yet, but I'm just meddling with sound, layers and layers of bass, right? it will have, heavy elements, full, like, all of the stuff that I've listened to thus far. I will find a way to sort of combine all of them. And yeah, it's a new start, I feel, for me as well. And that being said, I got into reggae bass, so that's coming up. Yeah, man, like finally. Um, and just exploring, expanding on the skill set as well, just practicing every single day. Picking up different instruments. I want to start playing double bass, like the upright standing one as well. So yeah, yeah, man, I want to take music. Like for me, this is what I have in mind. And yeah.
I'd like to add that both of my bands are busy recording their first albums. So I'm looking forward to that. And I hope everything goes as planned and we'd be able to release our music this year. So hoping for the best.
Cool. So, thank you all so much for doing this, for sharing your experiences. It was enlightening, it was inspiring, a little disturbing, but overall quite educational for me personally. So, yeah, I just want to say big shout out to the four of you for doing what you do, for coming here and speaking your truth. So, can't appreciate it enough, honestly. And for everyone watching, you'll find links to all the artists' bands in the description. So if you haven't checked out these bands and artists yet, please do so. And yeah, that's it. So any last words, shout outs, anything else that you all want to add?
You for holding the space and all of you for everything. It's not often that we have this space, and when we get together to talk about stuff, I think it's so important, like, to create these spaces. And I'm really grateful that this was not one of those tokenizing spaces, so we need more of these.
I think you should wait for that till you see my title. I think I'm going to lead with female fronted podcast.
I think I know where you live, bro. It's fine. It's okay.
No, I'm just joking.
But yeah, same as what Devi said. Thank you for having us, and thank you all for being here. It's so nice, man. Like to talk with y'all as
This
well.
was really enlightening for me because I am isolated and I keep myself away from any sort of disturbances, and it was an eye opener for me. So thank you, and thank you for being such impressive and inspirational women. And I'd definitely like to get to know more about you guys. So all the best with your endeavors, I guess.
You too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you to GK, our middle-aged metalhead, for doing this. I am following your YouTube channel now because it's pretty interesting. But here we got to talk about some serious shit. So which is much needed in the scene. So thank you so much for doing that, and thank you to all you girlies, because I learned a lot of things from you guys. I really admire Niharika's spirit, and Pearl, I need that mentality for not giving a shit, for just being in your own space. No, don't give a shit to anything. Kind of spirit, like the kind of mentality. I think I'm taking that from you. And Debbie, bro, you deserve this. And I learned something from you as well. We're gonna talk about it later. And we need to hang out soon. So yeah, that's it. And I'm checking all of your Niharika solo album, Pearl, both of your albums. Please share it. I'll definitely give it a listen. And Debbie, let's see who gets it done first, yours or ours. Retromist versus Exit Wound. Right.
Yeah, leave a comment, tell us what you thought, and thank you all for doing this, and thank you for watching. Cheers.